Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Power in Your Story interviews, where I bring to you some amazing entrepreneurs, and we dig deep into, the story behind what powers them, what enthuses them on their mission to do the work they're doing at present. So we're going to have a deep dive into that. I'm Marianne. I've had over 20 years working in the area of communication, helping people speak their truth, stand a little bit more aligned with who they are when they're speaking, with confidence and clarity, and very much story underpins it all. Whether it's the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we absorb, they have this huge influence as to how we go forth. So hopefully today we're going to have an amazing story from Tina, and hopefully that will inspire you about the power that you have in your story. So welcome to Tina Hull, who is the Restorative Health Guide. I love that. It totally intrigues me. So welcome, Tina. It's lovely to have you here.
Very good. So happy and pleased to be here. I appreciate it.
And for those of you who are in colder climes or cooler climes like myself in the UK, and today, though it is May, it's dull, it's cool. And so just in case it makes you green with envy, whereabouts do you live, Tina?
It will, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah, I live in the Caribbean on a very small island called Nevis, and it's part of a federation called St. Kitts and Nevis.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, I'd heard of St. Kitts, but I'd never heard of that particular island. So it
Yes.
sounds beautiful. And you're near the beach and...
Well, not really, and it's a real fallacy for people to want to be on the beach, honestly, because the sea salt air will destroy your equipment very quickly. You only get to see what's in front of you, and I'm on the mountainside, and I have a 180-degree view of the ocean. I have a clear view of the mountain, which is an incredible magical energy, and then all its surroundings. So I get the best of both worlds. And I'm a 10-minute drive from the beach.
That really is the best of both worlds. You've got
Yes.
lovely mountain air, all those negative ions, and then you can go down to the beach, and that's fabulous.
Yeah.
And I am going green, guys. I am going green. That combination is nice.
I understand.
Yeah. But it wasn't always this way. You didn't always live.
No, I relocated from Toronto, which is where I was born, and I met my husband, my ex-husband, and he is from the island that we live on now. And he always wanted to come back and build his dream home. So that's what we did 16 years ago. And we've been here, and it's become my home. It really does feed my soul.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's funny how paths take you to where you're supposed to be. So
Yes.
I think you were from Toronto, is that correct?
Yes.
So tell me, if we go back a bit further, this Restorative Health Guide, first of all, tell me just a tiny bit more about what you mean by Restorative Health Guide.
So it came to me during a meditation, actually, and it basically is an umbrella to what I do, because I don't just focus in one area. I have many skills and many experiences, so I put them all under that umbrella. So I pull out whatever tools I have in order to help. So I am a massage therapist. I'm a kinesiologist. I'm a foot care specialist. I'm a guided meditation leader. I'm an intuitive health guide. So I take all of that, and a craniosacral therapist. So I take all of that knowledge and experience, and my goal is to restore your health, mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually. Whatever is weighing you down, whatever's holding you back, keeping you stuck, disempowering you, or debilitating you in any way, my goal is to help bring you back to who you really are and who you're meant to be.
Perfect. That's, I guess they were aligned over that. I think that's a wonderful goal. And I just love that story that it came to you in a meditation, sort of that clarity of what to call it, rather than a list of all these things, which would probably boggle everybody.
Yeah.
You know, be restoring my health, I can understand. So I love the story about the meditation. Was that fairly recent, the meditation?
No, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and honestly, I haven't owned it until now. I put it out there a couple years ago, and I thought, okay, no one's responding to it. Maybe they don't understand what it is,
Yes.
and I just kind of pulled back on it. But it feels right to me right now, so I'm in alignment with it, and so that's why I'm using that title.
So do you think the difference is because now you feel more in alignment with that title?
Yeah. Yeah, I've stepped into and I'm owning it.
Oh, fantastic. I like that. I think
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. And people tend to sense when you own something and you're aligned. That's lovely. So all of these things you've mentioned, foot, craniosacral, massage therapist, so many things. I guess it didn't all start at the beginning. So, but take us back to the beginning. I don't know whether that was when you were a teenager. What drew you into this? Was there any particular story you had that started you on that path?
Yeah. So back in my 20s, right out of university, I was just looking for a job. So I took kinesiology.
Yeah.
And in Canada at the time, there was a recession. And kinesiologists were basically assistant physiotherapists, and there wasn't much out there. Everybody was being laid off.
Yeah.
And so I decided to take the yellow pages and just go through a bunch of companies and just see if there's anything that was required and needed. And I ended up actually, I thought I was calling the Back Store, which is a company that helps people with back pain.
Oh.
And I actually called an orthopedic clinic.
Totally by mistake.
And they were looking for a kinesiologist. So there was some divine intervention there. So I worked there for 5 years, and I trained under the orthotist to learn how to make and assess the foot and make custom-made foot orthotics and fit them into the shoe and help people with foot pain. And then as I was leaving to go back to massage therapy school, one of my clients had mentioned craniosacral therapy to me. And so it intrigued me, and she shared with me a little bit about it. And then she kind of left it there. And I went off to massage therapy school. And then at some point, the craniosacral therapy got brought back up. And within, I think, a month, I was in a 4-day course taking that. So I've been doing the craniosacral therapy for 28 years. And 3 years ago, I was on this webinar, and this gentleman was telling us how we could use our massage practice online. And I couldn't wrap my brain around it. But I just thought of massage. I didn't think of the craniosacral therapy.
Yes.
And because I've been so involved in energy work for myself online, I decided, oh, I had this thought during a massage, why can't I translate the craniosacral therapy online and help people? And that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years.
Lovely. So you sort of took that concept of massage and then added the craniosacral and put it online. Now, just to help us and the audience sort of clarify, I'm familiar with craniosacral, or maybe it's a cranio osteopath. So what is, and I know the craniosacral is the
skull bone,
skull, and then the rest of your spine. And is that what it is?
To the sacrum. Yeah.
Yeah. And is that what you work on? Yeah.
The cranio osteopath has many more modalities that they use. Okay. So and it depends. So they can train, I think it could be like a 12-year, a year-long program, and each month they do a different modality. And so maybe those persons that are cranio-osteopaths are focusing just on the craniosacral therapy, because the original person is Donald Sutherland, and he was an osteopath.
Okay.
So that's perhaps why that's the difference in the UK versus in Canada and the US and with myself, is that we call it craniosacral therapy.
Okay. All right. So yeah, okay. I think I've got you. So that's fascinating, and I just love the way one client at let's keep it simple, the foot clinic, the work you were doing, suggested, why don't you try craniosacral? Do you have any idea what made her think of it for you?
No, can't remember. We were also, I build relationships, so it's never just a client, they become friends. So we were chatting one day, and she was excited for me that I was going off to massage therapy school, and so and the reason why I was doing massage therapy school is because we were moving down to the Caribbean. So it was like foot orthotics go in shoes. Most people don't wear shoes, not sure how much business I'm going to have. So we figured that I needed another vocation, and that's how I ended up going into massage therapy.
Oh, I see. Really, it was a string to your bow rather than just focusing on the feet and people not wearing shoes.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And so I built my practice here as a massage therapist and the craniosacral therapy. So I use that as a tool, integrating it into the massage.
Before we come to the island, I also kinesiology, I'm familiar with it, but yes. What drew you into it? Because it's not always the greatest known technique, I suppose.
No, so kinesiology is man in motion. And I remember going to my, what do they call it? School advisor. And everybody was kind of sat down and said, okay, if you don't know what path you're going, then this is the kind of courses that you need and what to take, so that you can, when you go off to university, you're not scrambling to, try to get those courses. And one of the ladies on my brother's hockey team, one of the moms, was a guidance counselor. And we were talking quite a bit about, because I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, honestly. And so she said, well, why don't you do kinesiology? Because supposedly when we come out of university, we would have a skill, and in that skill, we would have a job. And I didn't want to do, because I'm very good at English, I didn't want to do English because there was no guarantee of a job. So it didn't make sense to me just to do something I loved. In order for me to say I had a degree, I wanted it to have a function. So I was a little disappointed at the end because it wasn't as true as I had hoped, but what can you do? University, I realized, is a way to learn how to live a balance between being on your own, probably for the first time.
Yes.
and still being disciplined and committed to the education part of things and having a little fun in there.
Yes, fun, that's an important part of it as well. So yes, it definitely opens up your world, doesn't it? So really, it was a suggestion from somebody else. You wanted to do English, but you thought, well, okay, let's have something practical. And so you studied kinesiology. It wasn't quite what you'd expected, but you felt overall aligned to it at the time.
Yes.
And how did you move then? Oh, I know. Then you worked, and then it was so you did work as a kinesiologist, and then while they were difficult times.
Well, the kinesiology, because it's the body in motion, it kind of fit with the foot orthotics. So that's why they were looking for a kinesiologist, because then they could train person with body knowledge, and then have them be able to create the foot orthotic and also be able to assess the foot so that they could help the person be free of pain in the feet. So, and then the massage came because we were moving down here. And I had always massaged. It was something I just naturally did. If someone had a kink in the neck or shoulder, or they complained about something, I was like, oh, I can help you. And it was funny because even through my schooling, when I was massaging people and the teacher was talking, I'm like, oh, I already do that. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know there was a title to it. I didn't know there was a name connected to it. I didn't know there was an actual reason to do it. I just did it.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a lovely story. But basically, you were already, you knew it was a line because you were already doing some of these things. I can relate to some of these things, thinking, yeah, I know that, but I haven't given it that name. And then you were given a structure, and you were away. And I love the fact that really it's as if there were people in your life that were sort of signposts that said, well, maybe kinesiology would help give you a career you might want. And then you were moved out of one clinic because of the difficult times in Canada, and then you were moved into the foot world. And then one of your clients, friends, after a good conversation said, well, you probably enjoy the craniosacral. So it's as if they were little human signposts saying, try this out. And it seemed to work for you. You sort of seemed to trust that relationship and exploration.
Yes. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. And so the last one was your husband at the time wanted to come back and build his dream home. So the massage therapy fitted for people who might not be wearing shoes, which made sense, which I guess sounds quite healthy. And so you moved to the island. And did you start off on your own, or?
Yeah, so because nobody knew who I was, I didn't feel comfortable putting up my signpost and saying, here, look here, I'm massage therapy. And I didn't know honestly what the island, the people were doing, if they were accepting of massage, what their idea of massage was. So I ended up working for the Four Seasons Spa Nevis, and worked there for 4 years, and slowly built up my home clinic and practice. And then there was a passing hurricane, and it closed the hotel for 2 years. So I just put everything I had into massage. And so I talked to somebody the other day, and I said what I did and how I did it. And he was like, Tina, your middle name is Pivot. Because when I was trying to figure out how to market my business, because I had no choice and I had to make the massage therapy in my clinic work, I took a lot of social media courses.
Right.
So eventually I tried to make that a business online so that I could help other practitioners build their business and grow their business. It never really felt aligned to me, so it's not something that it really took off, and eventually I just let it go. But there's always ways to grow and expand and do, and it helped my business, and so it was a good thing.
Yeah, a very good thing. And it's very powerful, really, that part of the story, that you can try something and it might work for a bit just to keep you pivoting into your next, just to keep you going, keep you ticking. But if you find that it isn't quite aligned, you just don't have that same power inside of you to keep going for the long haul. So that's sort of great insight there. And I love that. Tina, pivotal very good. But now I think you've oh, I wanted to ask you about this hotel that was damaged in the hurricane. Was that near the beach, and were you more protected where you were?
Yeah, so actually it wasn't even a hurricane that hit us directly. It
Oh,
was 300 miles away. It was
wow.
what they call a perfect storm. And the hotel is on the beach and it's below sea level. So it totally caught us off guard. We had a day to prepare, 2 days to prepare, and the hotel wasn't prepared. They had to get, they had a huge group in, so they had to get everybody out of the country and off the island, and it flooded it. And then there was behind the scenes legal stuff with the owners, and the owners lost ownership, and then the bank took it over for receivership. So there was a lot of mess. So it wasn't just the hurricane, it was the perfect storm of a lot of different things. So
One thing started a whole
yeah.
series of things.
Yes.
So I'm talking about storms because I know that you mentioned your ex-husband. So
Yes.
he is he still on the island?
Yeah, we still reside in the same building. He
Okay.
lives in one of the apartments, and the girls and I live in the main house.
Oh, okay. Okay. And has that experience in any way moved you on as well in how what you deal with? Without
Yes.
obviously getting too personal. I know you're not going to get too personal, but just the
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I forgot to add another title, life and mindset coach.
all right.
And I'm really thankful that I went into that area because it helped me navigate and negotiate and process through the separation.
Right.
But I realized after speaking to a girlfriend that he has narcissistic tendencies. Now, he's never been diagnosed, and it's a title, unfortunately, that is thrown out there a lot. So I can't tell you, but from
Yeah.
the stories that I've read and the stories I've been told, it's very likely.
Right.
So that's why I say tendencies.
Yes.
And so that has really transformed my practice to work more with women who are coming out of narcissistic relationships, to help them heal the emotional wounds so that they can become stronger, they can love themselves again, and so that at the end of the day, they can be happy without that relationship. And I know it doesn't seem like it's possible, but it really truly is. And stepping more into your power and knowing who you are is one of the most beautiful things that we can do for ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. Amen to that. I think it's so important. And that's how I work with people with stories and the mindset, because otherwise we're doing things that aren't really us. And we just don't realize, do we? And we wonder why we're not happy. We're doing the same things over and over again. So helping ladies release some of that trauma really
Yes.
is very, very powerful. Turning the blame and trauma to empowerment
Yes.
and release, to let it go, which
Yeah.
is important. So that's quite amazing that really every step, and this is important. I mean, guys, you know, our lives are like signposts, and they keep moving us further and further nearer to the goal of what seems truly us and what seems truly the right path for helping others and serving others. Do you feel now that you're likely to keep pivoting? And obviously you can't, I'm not asking you to have a crystal ball and predicting what's going to happen in the world, you know, world events, but
Yeah.
where you are now, do you feel that you've reached something that you're happy continuing?
Yeah, so I've always been passionate about everything I've done. And the passion keeps growing, especially in the energy healing, because I'm realizing how powerful energy is, and the fact that we don't have to relive the past in order to release it, which is even more powerful. And so, yeah, probably there'll be pivots, but I'm trusting the journey. I'm trusting that I'll be led. My desire is to do a certification course, an 8-week certification course in an energy program, and eventually go to Sedona, Arizona, and get connected with the spirit guides and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm so science-based that I find the woo-woo a little difficult. So, and it sounds strange for me. And my clients will tell me that I'm woo-woo, and I'm like, really? No,
I don't do woo-woo.
It's all science-based. There's science behind it all. This is the fun part of it. And science is finally catching up with a lot of it. And
Yes.
there was also science back in days of Einstein's days that are backing it up. So we ignored it and we forgot about it for a long time. And now it's rising. And when we realize how much energy can guide us and bring us joy and release us from the past and just heal in all ways, it's such a powerful thing.
It is. I think energy is very important. And I just love what you said, really, very powerful, that we often forget. And though science is great, and I hear you're sort of science-based and not woo-woo, even though that sounds odd with what you're doing, you like to refer to the science because some people really would like that evidence. And yet it's been around way before that. And it's quite interesting, I find, for the story is that our ancestors had quite intuitive wisdom about what healed them and what healed others, and they passed it down through generations. And even with our technology and our science, we're often catching up with it and having to rediscover it.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. I mean, I guess we all as individuals and on our story path have to rediscover something. So that's exciting. And your trip to Arizona, well, that sounds like another story. How are you going to get in touch with the spirit guides? I mean, as in?
Well, so my understanding is Arizona is just, Sedona specifically is very magical, and it's just something that's going to be, I'll be guided and led and just allow the process to be connected and to connect with my soul self even more and just really see what happens.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that you're open to that, and it sounds very exciting. And I'm sure, however it's led, it'll be uplifting, and you'll be given another signpost on your journey.
I have no doubt.
Absolutely, these experiences, they'll fuel you for a lifetime, I think. Now,
Yeah.
if any of you would like to get something from Tina, I think you've got two, is it guided meditations? One's healing relationships. So that's very much, I think, based on the work that you're now doing, helping women heal from narcissistic relationships.
Yeah, and it can be any relationships. It could be somebody from the past. It could be somebody who's passed away and you just haven't been able to release that toxic relationship as well. So it's not just for narcissistic relationships, but
it's broader. So if anybody just thinks I really need to heal from that, it's broader than that. It's what you focus on, but it actually has a broader spectrum. Okay, and there's another one called releasing stress. So I'll put them down in the footnotes so that if you're interested in enjoying one of those guided meditations, you'll have the details and you can hear Tina take you through that. And I know that we both agree that stress It makes such a difference to every part of our lives, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Stress is the silent killer, and we don't make enough connections between the ailments and the diseases and the conditions that are out there right now. And we're addicted to pain and suffering, which is kind of strange to me because I've always avoided it. And so I think the more we realize that our birthright is to be healthy and strong and loving and kind and living our passion and our purpose, then a lot of that can fall away in the stress, because you'll come into alignment with what your essence truly is, and that will allow you to live the best life. And it's all here for us to have.
Beautifully put. Isn't that beautifully put, guys? I love that, Tina. And I just love the power of your story. I love the power of Tina's story, of how she's allowed herself to be guided and on the path that's taken her to what she's doing now, which is an amalgamation, but new things from new experiences that she's helping to heal and help other people with. And it really, for me, underpins how powerful your story is. It's powerful for when you get, as Tina said, when you get into alignment with who you are and you can sort of speak your truth, then your story not only can help and inspire others, but it can be a powerhouse for you to keep going with your mission, to keep going to serve other people. And story is wonderful. And if you can release some of the stories as well that are in our heads that maybe aren't very helpful, and then you can see how amazing some of the stories are that you have in your life that have given you all this experience to move you forward and help your ideal audience. Story is a powerful way to connect with your audience. And if any of you are interested in taking it a step further, to have a sort of self-paced study course about using story when speaking, I'm going to put the link down below as well. And yeah, we can take that from there. In the meantime, thank you very much for listening. Tina, thank you so much for joining. I've thoroughly enjoyed your story.
Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, take care. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Bless.